Yeah, hi people, welcome back to my YouTube channel where we cover practical monitoring and evaluation and project planning and management. So in today's videos, we're going to look at the project implementation plan. So what is a project implementation plan? This is a detailed guideline outlining all the necessary steps to complete a project, including the relevant parties and deadlines. And this document can also be used as an additional document to the project's strategic plan. So that is briefly about, in simple terms, what a project implementation plan is. To abbreviate it, it's called the PIP. It's just a detailed guideline outlining the necessary steps to complete a project. So let's look at the components of the project implementation plan, which is the PIP. These are components that are in accordance to the PMI certified. So the PMI certified to the Project Management Professional Institute. So one is project goals and objectives. So when you're doing your PIP, you need to include, firstly, you need to define your project goals and objectives. And just to define what a goal is, briefly, this is just an ultimate goal of your project. While the objectives, these are key milestones or achievements that the project intends to achieve. So when you're doing your PMI, these are very important. And the first number one component for you to include and define is defining your project goals and objectives. So it will be my goal and objective. Is it an app? Maybe my goal is to create an app that helps people in buying things from the market. So the second component is defining the success criteria. Under the success criteria, the project manager must reach an agreement with the stakeholders to define the project success. So you as a project manager, you should sit down with the project stakeholders or team and define that this is going to be our success criteria and how are we going to achieve a certain success. Or if we set this objective, what is the roadmap for us to achieve that objective or to define our success? Component number 3 is the scope statement. This just briefly defines or describes your project scope, which in simple terms can be defined as the work to be performed. So your project scope in this case can be either where is the location of your project, what is the target market or beneficiaries, what is the time frame for this project. All those you have to include them in your project scope statement. And component number 4, we have the resource plan. This simply just outlines the human resource, the equipment, the materials you may need for your project. So in this case, if it's a construction project, the resource plan outlines that maybe I'll need 5 engineers. If it's a big project, I'll need casual laborers. In terms of labor force, I'll need these iron bars, number of iron bars. Just outlines the resource requirements you need for this project for you to attain the objectives of the project. Then component number 5 is the risk analysis. So under the risk analysis, you may use tools such as the SWOT analysis, that is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats analysis, or any other tool to identify the risks the project may possess, so that you may be able to come up with a risk analysis and a strategy to curb those risks in case it occurs. So it's very important for you to include that in also when you're doing your project implementation plan. So after you've done your risk analysis, The next step is the implementation timeline. So this implementation planning just clearly define the project timeline to be executed properly. So here you just if you set activities for your project, here you actually have to set the time in which you're going to attain the project objectives based on this the activities or the time for achieving a certain output. Yeah. So in this case, you can use tools such as Gantt chart, for project managers or other tools. Yeah, so that's simply about the implementation timeline. Then we have the implementation plan milestones. While you've set your timeline for achieving a certain output or objective, in the implementation plan milestones, you identify the key milestones you hope to achieve in your project. Yeah. So you outline in your implementation plan the milestones and how you will be able to identify the milestones and also easily keep track of the milestones of your project. So this helps you assess your progress of the project. Are we achieving the objectives set out, or are we backsliding? If it's maybe a bottle company and we said that in this quarter we want to produce maybe 20,000 bottles, and we hoped them to be sold out by the end of the quarter. So you have to assess, are we actually achieving that objective? Have we actually produced that amount of production we set out to produce? Yeah, so it also helps you in assessing and evaluating your project progress. Then teams and responsibilities. So here, after you assigned your activities, done your risk analysis, identified your resources, then you assign your teams the different responsibilities. Yeah, it's also called more like a work plan, where you give each team that this is going to be your responsibility and this is going to be the timeline for you to achieve this to complete this duty. Yeah. So it's also very important for you to include it in your project implementation plan. Yeah. So I'm going to look at other elements also to guide you more in understanding this concept. Yeah. As I've said, the project objectives, this is the first section where you clearly outline the project goals and specific objectives. Yeah. Then the second section is a project schedule. In this section, you specify the order for the teams to perform the project's tasks, which is similar to a work plan, where you set a schedule that so this is the responsibility. So the upper components explain these elements very well. I think they're just feeding into each other. Yeah, where you said that maybe I have Farida, this is her responsibility, and this she'll be able to achieve it in 2 to 3 days. Yeah, so you assign the tasks, set the timelines, that's called the project schedule, to achieve a certain tasks that contribute to the outputs and overall then the objectives. Then section number 3 is necessary resources, which I talked of in earlier components. The resource plan. Yeah, you outline the resources you may need to complete the projects. Yeah, this is a summary of the upper components. Then the assigned tasks. Yeah, in this section, you as a project manager summarize the tasks assigned to the various team members. Yeah. Then the project changes. In this section, you include changes that may occur to the project and modifications you may need to make to the projects to ensure that the team members can adapt or keep the project on track, and also ensuring that the project is on track and is achieving its objectives. Yeah. Then the progress analysis. In this section, you do data analysis, which you're actually evaluating the progress, which I talked about in step number 8. Yeah. You're evaluating your project, whether you're attaining your objectives, whether it's the success. I've given an example of a bottling company, whether it's achieving the production is set out maybe for 20,000 bottles per quarter, and then having them sold out. Where do we need to make adjustments? Are we having a lot of waste if it's an NGO or project-based, like social service, if we set out maybe we want to reach this number of homes, of households, with to provide them access with the clean water, safe and clean water, and we set out maybe in a year we hope to reach out to 1,000 households. In the progress analysis, you're actually analyzing how are we so far in the progress. How are we so far in the progress? Are we actually attaining the progress? Are we actually attaining the progress, or we have to make some adjustments? So that's it in the progress analysis. Then the success assessment. After you've done your progress, in this section it contains either, if it's a product, the consumer feedback to assess the public's approval of the project. If it's a product and then you've done maybe a consumer survey, you want to know, was the product a success on the market? People actually receiving it very well? Is it selling out? So that's briefly about the components of the project implementation plan. So how do we create a project implementation plan? In here I have 8 outline steps which I'm going to explain in detail. So 1 is conduct thorough research. 2, determine the project goals, determine the risks. Number 3, 4, identify and assign the project tasks. 5, prioritize tasks. 6, outline the estimated time for the tasks. 7, identify the necessary resources. And 8, evaluate the project's process. So 1, we said conduct research. So it's very necessary for you and your team members to research the purpose of the project and the goals. This helps you to gather information of maybe if you set out a certain project, or most cases some of these projects have been done, so it helps you to know just a brief history of the success. So common things to consider when you're researching is on your project goal and objectives. Is considerations on the budget. Maybe what are the previous estimated budgets to achieve a certain goal? What has been the trend in achieving this goal I've set out to in terms of timeline? Can it be attained in a year? Can it be attained in a quarter? Or in a week if it's a very small project? These are very essential in you to complete the project. So during your research also, you may consider interviewing company partners, stakeholders, customers to understand more about the requirement of certain tasks and the priorities of the different projects. So this helps you have a thorough understanding of your project goal and your project. So when you're doing when you're doing this, it helps you to thoroughly understand your project goal and your project, which in turn will help you in developing your PIP, your project implementation plan. So when you have a thorough understanding of this, you may rule out all the negative things that may come out in attaining your objective. 2 is determine the project goals. So after you've done thorough research on your project goal and objectives, set a SMART project goal. Thoroughly define a SMART project goal. SMART meaning it must be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. You have to set a SMART goal and specific objectives. So in setting clear goals, this helps you and your team to ensure that they are focused on completing their tasks. So when you define your goal very well, that it is specific to the point, it is very measurable, the quantities of the goal, it is attainable, it is realistic, it is time bound. Your team know. Now maybe if our goal is to produce 20,000 bottles per quarter, it's clearly defined that we have to attain this amount of production, so they know how to work towards a certain output and also increase their productivity to achieve that output. So number 3 is determine the risks. Yeah, very important also when you're doing your project implementation plan. Yeah, this is a very essential part of the implementation strategy in identifying the potential risks and challenges that can hinder your project progress and affect its success. Yeah, so in identifying the project risks, this can help you prepare for them and create a contingency plan to mitigate their impact if they occur. For example, if you're doing a project maybe in Karamoja, we all know it's a very high risk area. So you know that maybe I've gone there to help Karamoja to have access to education. Let's say education, yeah. So you may find that because of the high risk and hostility, you may put a potential risk that maybe people may not be willing to support the project. So when you know that they may not be willing to support the project, you're also putting a contingency plan. So how will you be able to accommodate that? Or if it's a business project and you know the risk is maybe if it's a bottling company, yeah. So I want to produce 20,000 bottles per quarter. That's my objective. And I know that there is a risk of maybe of overworking the machines to produce that. So I would know how to create a contingency plan to curb that issue. Maybe I will need to install more machinery just in case. That's why it's very important for you to define the risks. So when you're doing your risk analysis, you're outlining them in your PIP. Yeah. After you've done a risk analysis, identify and assign tasks. Yeah. As I say, the project team is very important. Any project works with the team. So after you've identified the project goals, then you have the specific objectives, and the next item is you assigning tasks, which are the activities contributing to these objectives. Yeah. In this stage, you as a manager, you define the project, explain the project to your team members, and then assign tasks to your team members based on their strength and competences. Yeah. So maybe if it's a software project, you need to know that maybe I need a software engineer, and then I will assign them this type of tasks because it's in relation to the project competences, so that you can help them also in attaining the responsibilities or outputs and also contributing to the project success. Yeah. Number 4 is prioritizing tasks. After you've assigned your team tasks and responsibility, you need to make that's called an implementation schedule. So when you're doing your implementation schedule, it's very important for you to memorize this component, prioritizing tasks according to what is most urgent and according to what is most urgent and most important task to be done at that point. So when you're doing prioritizing, as I said, you can use some software called Gantt chart. You know that you have to come up with a hierarchy of what is the most important and the most urgent task, which has to be delivered. That's how you are saying you're prioritizing your tasks. So you know this task is coming number 1, this task is coming number 2, this task is coming number 3, and that is outlined in your implementation schedule. Yeah. So it helps you also prioritize and organize your tasks efficiently, to manage on time, to achieve a task, and also improve productivity and efficiency of your project. Yeah. So if it's maybe an example, if it's a construction project and you're going to do it to construct a house, as well as you know that the first task is most urgent one, and the first task is building the foundation. So you know after we build the foundation, go to the next stage. So yeah, that's prioritizing tasks according to the most urgent and most important, also the flow of tasks. Yeah. Number 6, outline the expected timeline. After you've prioritized your tasks, it's very important when you're doing your implementation schedule to include timelines. So this helps the entire project and your team also to set deadlines. If you tell someone that, I have to do this task in you don't give them any timeline, they may take that time to do a task which should have been delivered in 2 to 3 days. This also affects your project progress. But if you said that I want to do this project and finish it in 3 months, and you've not given anyone a timeline, you may find it overlapping. So it's very important when you're doing your implementation schedule to include the timeline. So this activity is going to take 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 days. You indicate all those things. So, and also it helps your team members to know their deadlines and motivate them to work efficiently and fulfill their responsibilities. Then nextly is identify the necessary resources. That is the resource plan. Identify the necessary resources in this step, what you may need to facilitate the completion of the project, and also to facilitate your team members, also to not having very good material, best material may heavily influence in achieving your project goals and objectives. Also in the resource planning, identifying your necessary resources. It's very essential for you as a project manager if you're maybe working with a big project, and to identify other resources you may need, like partners. There can be resources that you may need partners to help you accomplish a project where you may not be. If it's a countrywide project, you know that I'm in Kampala, I also have to implement maybe in Arua, in the Western Uganda. So I can come up with partners that can help me in my implementation. That is the resource planning. Then lastly, evaluate your project success. So here you've finished your resource planning, you've implemented your projects, then you have to evaluate your project success at each stage. Are we achieving the objectives of the project? How are we ensuring that we are completing this project? How we are moving on to the next phase? So this helps you to know whether your project is actually achieving its objectives, or is actually performing. If it's a product, actually the clients are satisfied with the project or products. When you're evaluating your projects, and if there is no need for improvements to achieve, if there is need for readjusting your strategies, it's very crucial for you to do that, and also to include that in your project implementation plan. So that has been it on the project implementation plan. Thank you so much. Kindly like and subscribe to my channel and share my videos. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Hit that red button, hit subscribe and the bell ring, so that when my video comes up, you can be able to see it. Like and share. Thank you very much. That has been it. Thank you.